A lot of those objections that are normally raised against Reformed theology, Calvinism, doctrines of grace, using those terms synonymously, generally what can happen is that people begin to attribute hyper-Calvinism, which goes beyond the boundaries of orthodoxy, but claiming that that's what is taught within the doctrines of grace. And I think a good example is free will. So for example, free will, if you read historically, you look at St. Augustine, you look at Jonathan Edwards, who both had major works on that very topic, and the way they defined free will and the way they utilized it. And essentially, I think that Edwards was really following Augustine, but talking about freedom being the ability to do what one desires, what one wants to do. And Scripture makes it plain that that's the case. So when you look at Pharaoh, when he is dealing with Moses and the children of Israel, Pharaoh did exactly what he wanted to do. It's not as though God created unbelief in his heart or that God created the sin in his heart. He simply let Pharaoh do what Pharaoh wanted to do. He let him have free will. We look at Romans 1, and it's interesting that the judgment is seen as actually God giving greater freedom, if you will. That's what you want. You can have more of it. But free will is being able to do what one wants. And so violence is never offered to the will of a human being. Nothing is done by compulsion. Everything is done freely. And yet God retains absolute sovereignty. He's never out of control, never out of charge, being in charge. So when Pharaoh is hardening his heart, when Pharaoh is sinning against God, Pharaoh does it, and yet God is using it. God is in charge of the situation, and he's fulfilling his purposes and his plans.